Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage podcast, episode 291. I am Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sinitsky. Hello.
Hi, that's me.
Welcome back to the oddly different setup, which hasn't or shouldn't have changed.
Something got fucked around here. Nothing is feng shuied anymore.
The microphone has to rotate upward. That's probably
like this?
fine.
Does this sound fine?
Yeah, actually, that sounds better. That's good. I'll try to keep tabs on I'll mess with it after we're done here.
It's all wonky. I'm so sorry.
Everything is fantastic.
I thought I had it, and then I started talking, and I'm looking like, this isn't right.
It's just the tonor on the front of the microphone. All I know is through research, that is where it accepts the best audio. Let me just go ahead and, while you adjust that, I'll turn this down.
There, is that better?
Oh,
Okay.
that's fantastic. You sound great.
Yeah, so somebody messed with this. Somebody must have bumped into it or something, and now nothing's feng shuied. It all is weird.
Something got dropped and spun your seat all the way down, bent the microphone arm out.
Yeah, no, seriously, like it's all fucked.
And I've disassembled your computer to remove the spicy pillows.
Yeah, it's I call it a spicy Capri Sun. Actually,
that is a very spicy Capri Sun.
The battery was so
oh yeah,
it was so bulged that the trackpad did not work on this laptop. So I basically had to act like that was like a ZX Spectrum or something, where I just didn't have a cursor.
100 grams of force minimum.
All
right.
But yeah. Anyway, beer. I don't have one. I have a Pepsi. I'm drinking real quick because I was eating lunch.
Sounds
and,
good.
Yeah, and we have Patreon.
I have a ham sandwich, beer, and then patreon.com/carbitrage. 3 open-ended levels of support starting at $1. Help us out for hosting costs if you want, and beer. If not, no biggie.
They've heard the shtick.
They have.
We have
Listener and viewer have.
It's summer, so it's been a busy time. I've done several events.
Same.
Weirdly, almost all of them were van and motorcycle related.
That sounds better than most events that we.
Yeah, actually, secretly very good. There's this.
That's not secretly.
Well, there's this group in town that does like van and motorcycle shows called Heavy.
Okay.
And they do great shows.
Like HEAVY.
Yeah, heavy, like
Okay.
physically heavy, like heavy metal, like stuff like that.
Physically heavy should be the name, actually. We are
so-
physically heavy, ladies and gentlemen. It's been
Yeah, Heavy did this. They do this thing called Heavy Thursdays at this place called The Joint, which is the bar next to the Caboose. And yeah, Heavy Thursdays is like a really good time. It's like motorcycles and vans, and like cheap, good food, and then like a couple like local like speed metal, thrash metal bands that I've like used to like go see live. One was called King Goro.
I don't understand the reference.
It's a Mortal Kombat reference. It's the
Okay.
bad guy from Mortal Kombat. So King Goro, they do. It's called grindcore, but grindcore is like crossing like hardcore punk and death metal.
Okay.
And so they do grindcore that is all about Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat references and like wrestling and like, things I'm into. And then so they've been around for like 10, 15 years, and they're actually like getting like really tight and like really good. And then there's this other band called Rad Enhancer.
Nice.
Which they play speed metal.
Okay.
And they're now a 6-person outfit, which is huge. That's basically an orchestra at that point. And so
See, when I picture a band,
I
like,
accidentally designed a T-shirt for them because there's a band called REO Speedwagon.
was it on TKO?
No,
Oh.
no, this is like just like talking to them. So you're aware that there's a band called
I
REO
know
Speedwagon.
REO Speedwagon. Yep.
Yes. So Rad Enhancer Orchestra would be REO, and so it's REO Speed Metal.
Ah. Now, big brain action happening here.
Big brain action. Rad Enhancer's actually on Spotify. They have their EP on there. And I was playing that at my friend's birthday party last night, and there was a song called Too Drunk, Too Flush. Another song
It's
called...
better than Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah, another song called Anal in the Outfield. Like, it's just, like really,
That's
really...
an odd mental image.
Yeah, it's a really, really goofy band. I love them. But yeah...
Okay.
So,
right.
last Saturday, I did not... it was just like, I did not have $30 for Modest. I don't lament that. I wish I could get in, but I just, like... Literally, it was my mortgage paycheck. I got paid the following Wednesday. It wasn't happening.
Wednesdays.
Yeah, well, I get paid on Thursday.
Oh, it's like the 15th and 30th?
I get paid on Thursdays,
Okay.
but Wells Fargo gives me my check early,
Nice.
like when it's a direct deposit, because they know it's going to show up.
Right.
But anyway, so
ACH be like it do.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, and I went to this thing called Full Tilt Boogie, another heavy show. That's a great name for a motorcycle
People
and van
naming
show.
this shit came out of Japan in the 80s, I swear.
Yeah, Full Tilt Boogie. It's a great name for a show, and it was a great show. It was vans, motorcycles, like heavy metal, beer, and food, and edibles.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
That's
the edibles,
an interesting
like,
addition.
yeah, that blew me away because I was not expecting that. I just saw, like, I was walking around, I saw this, like, tent that said pimento on it, and I didn't look down and see it was St. Paul Cannabis using a pimento tent. And I'm like, oh, cool, it's going to be some sort of Jamaican dessert thing. I'm just going to have it. Cool, awesome. Well, let's sort of like a Jamaican dessert because it's a 5 milligram edible for free. Like, I'm like, that's fucking cool. All right, I guess I'm having a good time.
This show is great.
This is a great show. But what was like really cool about it is being a 5 milligram edible was not a problem. It was like 3 cans of beer equivalent. Yeah. I was just like on a good level, and I had to go help my friend with an oil change, and yeah,
And everything was
it's a good time.
fantastic.
Yeah, it went really nicely. But yeah, Full Tilt Boogie was like actually, I would rank that as one of the better shows in Minnesota that I've ever been to. Like pre me eating the edible, but like just like the quality of vehicles that were there, the quality of like how they put the show together, the aesthetic of it, because it's held at Keg and Case.
Very good.
And so you're familiar with that lot. And so, yeah, the lot was mostly vans. The first 2 rows are like the Citroens and Mercedes usually park. That was that was mostly motorcycles there. And then the lawn, they had the concert venue, and then they had like the beer vendors and food vendors over on the patio. Nice. And so, yeah, it was a really, really nice way to extend the time. There's enough shade that like even on that like hot ass day, it wasn't too hot.
Even before I come and start throwing it?
but
it was pretty good, Ryan.
It was it was a pretty good time.
It's a great venue. I honestly really like that venue.
There was another show I went to immediately before that, and it was held by Zoomies. It was like a skateboarding show with a car show attached to it.
The Mall Zoomies?
The band, it's like a skateboarding show because Zoomies is skateboarding stuff. Oh. And so like skateboarding cars, and so they were putting a car show on with it. Huh. Well, it was being held at the Hollywood Theater in Northeast.
That's what I drove by.
Yeah, and you're wondering what's with all the lowriders, right?
Yes.
And you're probably wondering what the hell are all the lowriders doing on the road?
Dude, it was...
The lowriders are wondering what the hell are all the lowriders doing on the road. Because when they hosted the event, they were told that there was a parking area.
Oh, not there, no. Mm-mm.
No, and I'm like, well, did you preview the venue before you booked it?
On Google Earth, maybe.
No, because Google Earth shows that it's not feasible.
Right, but they might have called like street parking a parking area.
Maybe, but anyway, so
I took a very deliberately long way home just out of I don't know. I don't know.
You're
why.
trying to figure out what was going on. And there's all these lowriders on the side of the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I inadvertently kind of went to that show.
Yeah. So like Dan and I were there the night before, or not there, but we were at like their like kind of like cookout like house party thing where everybody got to know each other the night before the show.
It's a good idea.
And yeah, it's actually a brilliant idea. Everybody should do that. But yeah, we were there, and they said the Hollywood Theater, and I'm like, in my head going, you must have a plan.
It's one of those things where you hear it and you process it while you keep having a conversation. You come back to it, you're like, I did hear that.
No, I was like, I was sitting there. She said that, and like I can go, oh, okay. And then we like carried on, and I'm just like, because like at that point, like I can't do anything.
Right. Like
you're kind of fucked.
Yep.
So what? Where are the cars gonna go? Anyway, so car show didn't actually happen. There's just some lowriders parked on the side of the road, and was not nearly as great as it was supposed to be.
Yep.
But
I did see some skateboarding things though.
Yeah, I mean it was a cool skate show, but like the car thing that was supposed to be done didn't, and that was fine. And
well, your concerns turned out to be very valid.
Yeah, after Full Tilt Boogie, I went to this the Vietnamese Catholic church by my house called St. Columba Catholic church. It's a Catholic church. It's all in Vietnamese.
That is, I
With
didn't know that was a thing.
Vietnamese friars and everything there.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
all the monks and
FR.
everything.
Gotcha.
FRAIER.
Oh, right. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Like a deep fryer.
no. They have a cultural festival, which is like they only advertise it in Vietnamese, like in their church calendar. But what they do is they get like Vietnamese charting pop artists from like the Spotify like top 100 like in Vietnam, where it's like basically the Vietnamese equivalent of K-pop. Really good. I really like it. Lee Fung is like one.
Wasn't there just recently a big group that came that was like super duper huge?
Yeah, but not from Vietnam.
Okay.
Because no, Vietnam. You can book Vietnamese chart like the top 100 Vietnamese pop artists.
Yeah.
In a church parking lot in inner city St. Paul.
I see.
But anyway,
And
yeah.
did they?
So yeah, they do, and I've gone like 2 years in a row, and it's like 3 years. It's the best show in the world. Like I absolutely, it is my favorite cultural festival. I like it more than the state fair. Like because
And I assume it goes on forever.
it goes on till like midnight basically, and it's like it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but Sunday they end at 4 because obviously.
I'm surprised my friend Alyssa hasn't told me about this. She's
Yeah.
Vietnamese, and she's like, she keeps telling me all like Vietnamese parties go until people are like uncomfortably done with being at a
Yeah.
party.
So, well, what happens is it's not just like a little like church festival. It honestly feels like you're in Vietnam
Nice.
because there's like
Get your Vin fast. It's gonna
no,
be
you
perfect.
get like there's like 100 like old Vietnamese men that are just like smoking cigarettes like around the perimeter of it. And then there's like they have the sitting area under this giant tent that like takes up the entire like the entire parking lot is covered by a giant parachute, and they make that they repurpose the parachute as a tent, like one of
That's
those,
kind of cool.
yeah, like one of those big cargo parachutes like
Yeah.
the army uses.
Yep.
Yeah, so they have one of those and it covers like the entire parking lot. So like if it rains, you're fine. And then they have tents all the way around it, and they have like homemade Vietnamese food, like.
Inside or outside of the ring of Vietnamese men smoking?
This is all inside the ring
Okay.
of Vietnamese. So it's like an onion. Okay. And in the center of the onion, there's V-pop.
Bro.
But
Assume
like,
there's a bunch of mint first gen Cressidas around the outside.
no, it's all like mid 2000s, like higher trim level Toyotas and Lexuses.
Fine.
Like that's kind of like how you flex. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
LX 400Hs.
You know, kind of there's an MR2 there. There's like an extremely
Hell yeah.
high spec ES330 like Jana's.
Yep.
Like the highest spec that
The
you
one
could
with the
get.
nav.
Yeah, the nav and like the sport like trim package with like the dark gray wheels and like the Tupperware around the bottom of the bumper.
Ooh, man, the
Yeah.
chrome wheels were the really high expense.
No, they had the high expense, and then they had the sport version, which came with Tupperware around the bumper.
Oh yeah.
And then it came with like split spoke, like gunmetal, like BBS style wheels. So
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I've
actually,
seen that.
Yes. So yeah, it was one of those. Really cool car. But the food is unbelievable because it's like mung sausage and kebabs and lamb and pork and like
I'm about
pho
all of those things.
and like Vietnamese egg rolls. You can get wontons. They have Vietnamese crepes, which are like all the ingredients of pho inside of a crepe with a special sauce.
Oh yeah.
It's not like a crepe you're imagining. It's
No. It's a savory crepe.
It is literally pho within a crepe. It is so good.
Bro.
There's a train coming.
There is. I don't think it's coming from.
It's coming it's going this way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, they can't see us on this deck, which sucks.
This is all very exciting.
I do love trains, but
yeah,
this festival sounds
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's absolutely the best festival in the world. It's called the Saint Columba Fun Fest, is what it's
Great
called.
name, too, of
Yeah,
course.
great name. You have to in the church
man.
calendar.
Look at this train.
This thing's chooching.
Wow. Only one locomotive. No wonder she's breathing so hard.
But yeah. So
God, I want to live by train tracks.
at the yeah, it's called the St. Columba Fun Fest, and to find out about it, you have to go read the church flyer. It's physically on the church. And
Is it in Vietnamese?
Yep.
Ah,
And it's not available online as a text format, so you have
Google
to
Translate or Lens or whatever?
you have to like hand type it for it to work because it's like black and white and like photocopy of a photocopy. Like Google Lens can't make like heads or tails.
You're
of
on
it,
your
right?
own, bro.
And like luckily the word Fun Fest is in English, but then you have to figure out like what the word for like July is in Vietnamese.
They
And
change the time of year they do it?
it happens in July. It's just like the exact date is like it's vaguely the second weekend in July. It's the
We
weekend
need-
after the 4th.
We need more Vietnamese friends, apparently.
I've got plenty.
I need more Vietnamese friends then, apparently.
Yeah, you do.
only
Because
have a
this
couple.
is the way I found it. Is I was going outside, so I take out some trash a couple years ago. I just heard Vietnamese music like super loud, like through my neighborhood. I'm like, what is going on here? So I just like followed my ear for blocks. So like I live off of like a block north of University,
Yep.
and I live in Pascal, over by where Culver's is, right?
Yep.
So the festival is held north of Thomas by a block on Hamlin, and I could hear it at my house clearly.
But that's a fun permit to pull.
No, nobody complains because everybody gets delicious food.
That's true. They all do what you do. They're like, well, you weren't angry, but like some people are probably like, oh, what the hell is this noise? And they storm over there and like, oh.
Yeah, no, it's quite good. Like
End up staying there for 50 hours.
This is why I like where I live, because I don't have any NIMBYs in my neighborhood.
oh my god.
I don't want any HOAs. I don't want any NIMBYs. I don't want any of that. I want to be able to like,
I am the NIMBY.
yeah. I don't want anybody like you in my
Yeah,
neighborhood.
Correct.
Like we would,
White people suck.
no, we would absolutely kick you out of the neighborhood. 100%.
Nah, you can't afford to kick me out of a neighborhood.
No, I don't think you understand. We will make it very difficult for people like you to live there. And we have before. It's great. Whenever there's like somebody that's doesn't really fit.
Luckily, those people probably own their homes, and they probably don't pull shit like renters do, so no problem.
Yeah, well, so the thing is like, well, we've had like people that are like, there's a guy who was a couple blocks over. He's like a super hardcore Trumper dude. That's
Yeah.
just like a really like huge jerk.
This is my
And like
reaction.
it's like the Trumper thing sucks. But like on top of that, like he was also a dickhead about it. And so and
the audible Trumpers.
yeah, kind of like that. So what people did is just like there's like small things that you do, like when you're snow blowing your driveway, you don't blow your snow immediately into their driveway. Like when you're driving through the alleyway, you don't bump into their trash can and knock over their trash. You don't have spam mail sent to their address instead of yours.
Sign them up for cat facts.
Because cat facts are good, but like you don't sign
Not
them.
these cat facts.
You don't sign them up for like random spam, and you don't like you watch their house. You like make sure things aren't happening. Like you help people out.
Take
Like,
in their trash cans
you're,
when they're
you're
out
a,
of town.
You're a neighbor. Well, this guy didn't get any of that,
Ah, very good.
and it took him about a year to get out, and he left.
Perfect. And he probably lives in Rosemount now.
Probably, I don't care.
Yeah.
Maybe he lives.
Or maybe Wisconsin.
I don't know.
Somerset. He's a Somerset guy.
I just the world would be better without him.
Correct.
This dude is a dickhead. Because one of his friends, my Fiat has a huge dent in the door.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was one of that dude's friends.
Great.
That hit my car. So that's like the kind of dude he is. Like,
Great.
when I say like audibly like that, that's what I mean.
Poorly.
Yeah. So I don't like people like that in my neighborhood, and because we don't have people like that in my neighborhood, we can have super loud Vietnamese festivals.
With delicious egg rolls and all the other accoutrements under the giant parachute.
So-
in the smoke circle.
How were your last 2 weeks? What car things have you done?
The Murcielago has a new starter solenoid in it now.
I see it's still on the lift though.
It is, because it needs another new starter solenoid.
How many are there?
Well, there's just one, but the one I got was DOA. It had a shorted to ground coil, and I found that out after I went back in the car.
Why didn't you?
I bench tested it. It works perfectly. The problem is when you're not activating it and the starter's sitting there, it's actively drawing current through the solenoid, and it gets quite hot.
Oh.
So as I was putting it back in the car, I was putting the top bolt in, and my wrist grazed the solenoid, and it was liquid molten magma hot. So I decided to then disconnect the battery and wait a bit. And
Yeah.
then I asked all of my car friends, I'm like, I have never seen this happen before. And as far as I understand it, the solenoid has two functions. It is an electromagnet that pulls a plunger to engage the Bendix, and it also has
That's
a
exactly what it
contactor
does.
to
Yeah.
pass current. So the only way that this could be drawing power, sitting idle, is if the coil is bad. So I'm guessing the windings in the coil are just DOA. It's made in Brazil. It's come a long way. Fine. But anyway, I get to now remove the starter again in the Murcielago, which
It's a really good process to do that.
it
too.
is horrific.
It is. Yeah, it's not a fun time. Okay, so what else did you do?
I've been working on Hari's 1987 convertible. It's finally chilled out enough outside where it's not 100.
I wouldn't know because I've got an air conditioned garage.
Shush. Everything's fine. I'm okay. So 87 325i convertible, pulling out the single cam 2.5, putting in his old, which was my old 2.8 twin cam, which we found out has been in 5 vehicles now.
Okay.
So the
That's many.
M52 B28 is a terrific engine, but still working on that. I might work on it later tonight. We'll see. Otherwise, car shows, Supercar Saturday this morning. That CA Accord was
Yeah, you saw a
minty.
really good CA, like a 3rd generation flip up headlight Accord, and that was like that didn't suck.
It was
That's good.
white. It had no rust on it, and it was nice and quiet. It had a good muffler. That was the only real highlight of that show. We haven't had a Cars and Caves or a Wednesday Night Lights show here.
I
Since we last
did
recorded.
go to Cars and Craft.
Very nice.
It was fun.
Okay.
Not nearly as good. The venue sucks, but what do
I
you
mean,
do?
Drive Cartel, I'm sure, can still pull off a worthwhile show
I-
at a boring venue.
You could put Drive Cartel in the south parking lot of the Sears off of Marion in University.
Oh, yeah.
The worst possible parking lot I can think of. At in early August on a sunny day, and they would still be able to pull off a good show. Like
I
Drive
remember
Cartel can make a good show, and it's just the venue does objectively suck. But like
Well,
it was
especially by
it
relation to
was
the other one.
kind of cool to see that there's like an apartment immediately behind there now, and
Oh, yeah, I noticed that in the
yeah, there's
background.
there's a lot of cool like Somali families that like weren't expecting a car show. All these like little kids were super excited to see like Lamborghinis and stuff. So
Yep. Oh, dude, the smaller kids next door are so stoked on the Tesla every time I pull
yeah,
in.
and so it was actually pretty pure like seeing that. Like that made me feel pretty good seeing like 'cause, like you know like seeing kids get like little kids get excited about stuff like that's pretty worth it. Like I like that a lot. So
Can I have this?
I know.
No, but
But yeah, no, it was a pretty good time. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the venue blew ass, but they were cool.
what was the Bauhaus show we were just talking about before the show started?
Oh, Heavy Thursday.
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, it's not Heavy Thursday. That's the Bauhaus Motorcycle Night.
Okay.
And that's just great. I highly recommend
I
it.
need to go to that.
It was this Thursday.
Ah,
So
I got a while then.
what Thursday of the month is this? The middle Thursday, the second Thursday? Maybe it's every other Thursday. You can
It was
ask
the 13th.
you can ask Balto, and Balto will tell you when.
Okay.
He reminds me when it is.
Well, hopefully it's not every Thursday.
It's every other.
Good. So it'll be the 27th, which means I can go to that. So
I think.
put it in my calendar.
I would double check Dan before you put it in your calendar because
I'm
you
just
don't end
gonna
up at Bauhaus.
Well, I'll say check with.
You don't. Yeah, you don't want to like just like go to Bauhaus. But no, they actually have like cool bikes. It's like there's like obviously a lot of Harleys that show up, but they have like everything that shows up there. So like there's this weird like giant like scooter BMW thing. It looked like crossing
cool.
a scooter and like a Ski-Doo. And it was modern. It was a BMW.
But 2 wheels?
Yeah, 2 wheels. Had a front fairing on it. Had no idea what the hell it was.
Weird.
Didn't know a thing about it. It was a BMW person, so I didn't want to talk to them. Because
Well,
like
and a Beamer person at that.
it was a modern BMW, I know. And so I'm like, there's a high likelihood this person's gonna suck. Saw a really cool Morris convertible, a Morris 1000 convertible that was there.
Is a Morris 1000 the thing I think that it is?
Yeah, the little tiny, the Morris Minor.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morris 1000 convertible. Then there's like the greatest hot rod I've ever seen in my life in person. Well, second greatest.
The Honda rod's pretty good.
No, I mean actual hot rod.
Oh, okay.
No, because there's a dude that's got a set of Arden heads on a flathead that's like really cool, like steel center lock wheels from like the 30s, like super cool build. But the number 2 is this black one that was actually I used it in a community TikTok. So if you have TikTok, just go to Community's TikTok channel and you can see the car there. Because I don't want to have to look it up now.
And I don't have TikTok, so.
Exactly, as a subtle plug for Community because I want to help Dan whenever I can.
I agree. It is still a great platform.
So, but yeah, it's no, like the motorcycle nights I've noticed are like very good because people don't mess around with them as much. Like the problem with cars is that like if you have like a Hellcat, you can go whip a shitty and like hit a telephone pole and go home safe, right?
Well, yeah, it's hard to die in a modern car.
Yeah, it's still by the way they're designed, it's always going to be easy to die on a motorcycle, so people don't fuck around. Like
So
somebody
they
might
call them
like
donor cycles, right?
yeah, they might like maybe one person possibly might do a burnout, if that, but it's like one person, and it's not that big of a deal. As opposed to cars, everybody does.
Right. And
And
motorcycles
everybody
don't
sucks.
get a ton of sideways momentum and like chest punt people into
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
atmosphere.
And so that's the thing is that's it kind of keeps away the riffraff. I think that's kind of what I've been looking for. So anyway, let's do your topic before mine because I've basically been talking for half of the episode.
Now let's go in order. We had it. That's fine. That's
Okay.
just like a local sum up.
So anyway,
Plus, we were just talking about
Yeah.
VinFast and Vietnamese.
yes. My first topic is the VF8 really that bad? Well, Donut actually reviewed it, and their review was looking at other reviews with the giant whiteboard in the back of the car, comparing their reviews to other reviews.
Okay. I'm just going to be jumping around on the video as we talk about this
absolutely.
because
That's the price.
yep, $50,000 is
It's more expensive than all of the above.
it's more expensive by $4,500.
Go about like halfway
than Ioniq
through
5.
the video, roughly. Yeah, that'll work. So they're in the car, and
Oh,
they're
sorry, there's another
Oh, there's
video.
an ad. I don't have ads on mine.
I
like-
have premium on my main account, but not on.
They
Carbitrage.
were actually going through like saying like which of these issues are real and which ones aren't.
How did they find a Vin?
See,
I love the whiteboard.
I told you, literally a whiteboard. No, they said
Startup
they borrowed
blinkers.
they borrowed somebody's VinFast, and so
There's one in this country?
yeah, there's a few.
Oh,
Like they've actually
jeez.
sold several thousand of them.
I didn't know that.
It's basically Vietnamese people that own it.
National pride.
Yeah, no, I want one. Like VinFast, hell yeah, it's Vietnamese. I love it. But so one of the things that they did is VinFast is actually trying to like do right by their customers. Like they know they have a terrible vehicle, and there's some things that like they just can't do about. Like they're undersprung and overdampened.
Like last gen Hyundai Kia products.
So it's just the bounciest ride in the world, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a terrible ride.
It's probably fun on the potholes of St. Paul.
If you try to turn without using your blinker, the steering wheel will force you back into your lane.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's a nuisance.
Can you
So-
turn that off?
No, but they do over-the-air software updates, and they've been actively making these things better.
Okay.
So that's why they did this review, because it's been like a few months since the first reviews were done. And VinFast has actually fixed a lot of the problems. And so they're asking if they should do a follow-up review later on. That's them quoting a different review, which was,
Oh, okay.
there is a lead-acid starting battery for
Yeah.
the electric vehicle.
Sure. It's pretty common still. I don't know why.
And so the lead-acid batteries apparently aren't good, and they die. Yeah.
Oh, like the ID4.
Yeah, and so then you just are stuck with a bricked truck that thinks it's started, but it's not actually started.
Superb. If you
Brilliant.
can't close the high voltage contactor, boy, you ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. And so the way that they described it is they said, this is the No Man's Sky or Cyberpunk 2077 of cars. Where it had the worst launch, everything was bad, but at its core, it can be a feasible vehicle.
That's a pretty good analogy.
Yeah, and so that's the thing is like they've actually been VinFast has been taking steps like better their product. So like for instance, if you have an issue that renders your vehicle inoperable due to a quality control issue, after 4 days of being inoperable, and at their shop or like you just can't use it, they will pay you $400 a day.
Oh. VW, take notes.
Yes. If you have an issue that keeps the car operable, but you have to live with it, and they aren't able to fix it within 4 days, they'll give you $100 a day until it's fixed.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of fine beta
And then-
testing if it's like that.
And then there's kind of a between the $100 and $400 range of like a $150, a $200, and $300.
And what issue is
based
that?
off of Well, it's just kind of based off of like what these issues are. Like if it's something like the blinkers being just like a fucking nuisance, like something like that, where it's
Okay.
just like an inconvenience, then they'll give you like a little bit of money. But if it's something where it's like, for instance, like if the back windows decide they don't want to work, well, that's more. So that's gonna be close to like a $200 per day sort
Man,
of
you
thing.
could make money owning a VinFast.
I don't know if you make money because it still would be like a
So
half
it's still
of
a
a-
50
it's-
grand vehicle.
Yeah, it's still a half of a mortgage for a payment on that.
If you
But-
take a 5-year loan, that's $1,000 a month.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, $400 off that, $600 a month for a $50,000 vehicle.
Brand new car.
A brand new car, and they're actually taking care of you on it. Like you're working out the kinks, and you know that's not a bad deal
No.
at the end of the day. And like, I think that VinFast will pull through. VinFast has
The underlying hardware should be able to handle it. So.
yes, and knowing Vin Group, because I'm more interested in the parent company because I care more about the parent company than the immediate product. Because the thing is the parent company of Volkswagen is terrible because that's how Volkswagen Corporate is. So even if they have a great immediate product, the parent company behind that's going to be awful. So you're not going to be supported.
Correct.
Well, if you have a terrible product, it's a great company behind it. For instance, Cyberpunk 2077, terrible product.
Projekt Red, though.
CD Projekt Red, they take care of their people. Battlefield 2042, terrible. EA, not good. Battlefield 2042, still terrible. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying is like the parent company matters more than the product itself
Talking at you, Activision Blizzard.
or any car company really.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes. I mean, we have first-hand experience through Scott.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh,
and
it's not
so
good.
that's why when I look at like VinFast, like the only thing that VinFast has abandoned that was one of their ventures was their grocery store chain. And their grocery
remember
store
talking about
chain, their grocery store chain was like an old bodega chain, kind of like equivalent to like 7-Eleven in Taiwan.
Sure.
And the only reason that they like left is it was an oversaturated market and they had no way forward. And even then they didn't just like close down the shops or anything and leave people stranded. They just sold the shops to one of their competitors to I think actually was 7-Eleven. It ended up buying all the Vin markets. It's called Vin markets.
Got to go to one and find all the remnants of the Vin
And that,
market.
well, and that's the thing is like you like if you had like any sort of like setup like for their pharmacies and stuff, like
Yeah.
they just transferred over. Like they still took care of their customers. So Vin Group, being the weird bad corporation that they are, because all corporations are bad, but inherently, and being weird because that's how they are. Cause
no,
they,
it's Vietnamese.
yeah, well, no, it's more the fact that they are a weird conglomerate that owns resorts and has minders, a la North Korea.
That part I guess I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know that they had minders?
No, we had like a full Vin episode, but I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they have minders that follow you around when you go on like a press tour. It's very interesting.
Oh.
It's really cool.
I
I would be totally up for it because I'm like, yeah, I'll fucking drink a Kool-Aid, dude. Hell yeah. Give me a free trip to your little Vin Pearl with the little Eiffel Tower,
Yeah,
sky cart things.
Oh, yeah.
I will not talk shit. I will be thrilled. Like, because the thing is,
I will be dead ass excited the entire time.
Yes, I will absolutely not talk shit. I will be your greatest supporter because that sounds like a blast. And they've proven so far, like,
I'll shill. I don't care.
yeah, but the thing is, like, they've also like, proven that they're not a shitty company. Like, they make a shitty product. Don't get me wrong.
For now.
But I think Vin Group at the end of the day, they will be more of a CD Project Red than a Daewoo, where Daewoo just like lets you like die on the vine.
These metaphors are just
But I honestly have faith that they're actually gonna do right by their customers, and that'd be pretty cool if they actually did. Because I want to see Vin Group actually succeed.
It should be fine because I mean they're sourcing most of that vehicle through existing Chinese platforms which work. They've been in development for a very long time, and when you white label a product, especially when the software controls the entire car, you're going to run into a lot of teething issues in another country where people don't use things the same way.
I think the other thing is like I don't think they quite grasped when everybody was saying like Americans are really picky about their cars.
Oh yeah,
I really don't think because like all the automotive journalists were saying that, and they're like, oh, we're aware. Like I don't think you're really aware.
you read about it.
Like we didn't accept Peugeot because Peugeot is too weird. We had to think too hard to use the horn on a Peugeot.
I have
And-
to push in on a stock. I'm done.
Yeah, like that's
Take
the
it
thing is
back.
like there's like with Americans we're so picky about everything And I just think that they really underestimated how picky we are.
They're finding out.
Yeah, they're finding out very quickly, but they're also adapting, so that's cool. So
Fair enough.
I want to see the follow up that Donut Media does on Vingroup.
I want Randy to get one of these.
Oh God, Randy would have an out of body experience. He'd complain so much.
I know, but I really want that. I really want it.
If Randy gets one, I will happily ghostwrite it for him, and it'll be a glowing. Well, actually, it won't be a glowing review. It'll be an objective review, but it'll be an objective review of somebody that understands the company on a cultural level and like understanding where the company's roots are from and how they operate as a company.
And also how non-Americans perceive product.
Yeah, because that's one of those things where it's like whenever you have something that's weird and foreign, it's weird and foreign, and that's actually interesting. Like, that's why I like the Mirage. It's weird and foreign. This is weird and foreign. And it's weird and foreign and bad, but still weird and foreign.
For now. Could be OTA'd into acceptable.
Yeah, acceptable. I mean, at the end of the day, it's only an electric. It's gonna be an electric crossover at the end of the day. It's only gonna get so good.
Yeah, you can't OTA into a sports car.
No, but at the same time, electric sports cars I don't really care about. It's an appliance.
Yeah, I don't know. I still kind of do. An electric convertible is on my short list. Like, I would love one of those. But the heating... Anyway, that's a tangent for another day.
Yes.
All right, fine. On the electric topic, I do want to talk about Minnesota, the state in which we live, where Buffalo, Minneapolis is. We have actually pushed through some state-specific electric vehicle legislation, which is great news. And at least our... imperfect state government, I will say, is understood that we've lagged a little bit behind some other states in the 50. So within this bill that has been pushed through, there is a little segment in there about purchasing new and used EVs. So in addition to the federal credit, which on a U.S.-made, U.S. battery-sourced vehicle is $7,500, you would now get an additional $2,500 from the state of Minnesota.
Oh, that's great.
Which is a huge chunk of change. It makes it a total of $10,000 on something like, on like a Bolt, which would make it real cheap.
$10,000 off on a Bolt. Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
Like $20,000.
Your insurance payment will be more than your car payment at that point.
Yeah, depending on the loan term, but yes,
I
cheap. Makes me want to get a Bolt.
Honestly, we're reaching a point with like how cheap EVs are with some of these tax credits, where I think that they actually have to think about supplementing insurance more than the actual car payment, because that's actually keeping me away more.
Yeah, it's expensive to insure an EV, and then also we are still, as a state, charging EVs quite a bit more one time per renewal period for your tabs.
Yeah.
So like, sure, you're getting a little money off on the front end, but I don't even have a problem with that, because there is a gas tax, which we are not paying.
Yeah,
that has to come
fair.
from somewhere. So I think that's still totally
well,
fair.
I think the other thing is like you have taxation with representation there. It's like it's not like your gas tax is going to supplement like planting trees and like the
ethanol industry or something.
You're not like planting trees in the boundary waters. Like you're actually like doing something that you're going to see on a regular basis.
It is county tied, yeah.
Yeah, like your gas money, your money that you're spending on gas, that's going to actually fixing that pothole.
Yep.
Actually, speaking of such, there is that giant hole in my road still.
St. Paul streets are apocalyptic.
No, well, I told you about the hole that they cut because this is my neighbor's water.
Oh, yeah. The saw cut one.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's getting filled in now.
Has it killed anyone else's wheels?
Yeah, well, that's how it's getting filled in.
Okay.
It's getting filled in by broken car parts stuck inside of it. So it's full of underfairings
It's basically
right now.
gravel.
Yeah, it's just full of undershields
That's
and ripped
AstroTurf.
out like wheel wells and like portions of tie rods, things like that.
That's AstroTurf.
I'm kind of okay with it because like everybody
you know to avoid it.
Yeah, I know to avoid it, but like also the only people I hit are the people who are going like 50 miles an hour down my street and not paying attention.
Also,
like
people not in your neighborhood.
Well, that's the thing is like if you're in my neighborhood, if you're driving 50 miles an hour and not paying attention on my street, then you absolutely deserve to hit this giant hole in the road.
Stranger karma works.
It's not like it creeps up on you. Like you see it coming if you're paying attention.
Whoa. The saw cut holes in my streets move around. All right.
Yeah, no, this one like the only way you're missing this is by not looking at the road in front of you.
No, I'm texting too much to do that.
Exactly, and you're driving 50 miles an hour, so you can't react. And there's cars parked everywhere, so you can only maneuver so much. You have to go about 10 miles an hour to get around it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a moose test. And a lot of people fail it because they aren't paying attention.
I did some Hive mapping, which is basically open source Street View. It's a crypto project.
Yeah.
I was bored yesterday, so I went through a lot of St. Paul streets. I thought my road was bad. I no longer am going to complain about my road
Your road's fine.
there are some bad ones.
Oh, they're terrible roads, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, they'll
But
fix it at some
the
point.
thing is that gas tax goes to fixing, like, yeah, sure, my road, but sure, my road's also, like, pretty far down the list of things. Like, the only things behind my road are alleyways. But they fixed the potholes on Pierce Butler. Potholes are fixing all the through streets,
Main
all the
thoroughfares, yeah.
all this, yeah, the through streets that go through neighborhoods. I mean, like,
Plus, whatever freeze thaw we got this spring was just like you can't account for it. Bad
no, it
for
was
roads. Really
mega bad. Yeah.
So I mean, the crews can only do so many per day. I get it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
and I'm kind of fine with it, and also, like, you know, I don't know, like, I can drive my Fiat over my road now. They fixed most of the potholes, and this giant hole in the earth was placed after the potholes were all filled. So
And you know to avoid it.
yeah, it's not a problem.
Anyway, before we get off this topic, there's
Yes.
also a used credit for $600. So not a
that's
ton.
still pretty good though.
But, yeah, but it applies to cheap vehicles.
Does
I
that
mean,
does that only is that private car sales or is that dealer only?
It is. Oh, that's actually a really good question. There's no proof of income, which is really nice. So I feel like it does have to be dealer.
So this is the thing: is $600 on an iMev goes really far. $600 on a $4,000 car.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's why I
large
just
chunk
like,
of chain off of it.
like
Change off of it.
500Ds are cheap now again, and like
Yeah.
first gen Leafs are really cheap again. So yeah, 600 off a $4,500 car.
Yeah, no,
That's
that's
like-
that's
20%, I mean.
yeah, 16 to 20% off. Yeah.
So I think I honestly prefer that because there's no income cap on any of this, which is
That's brilliant.
it's good. It does cap the new car purchase price at $55,000 or under, which fine. I
Okay,
think.
so well, I mean, also if you're spending $55,000 on a car, all it's gonna do is basically be like, all right, you can't get a Plaid,
right.
you can't get your Model Y or your
Well,
Model 3.
You still can get a 3 and a Y. Because
Okay.
the base models fall under that because it's pre-tax.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you're fine. Like
Yeah.
you can get whatever you want. You're just not getting a super expensive version.
But
of it.
really, get a Bolt. Because Bolts are like 20-something grand MSRP, and you get 10 grand off.
Yeah. Great
A
deal.
brand new like 250-mile EV for like 20 grand, you finance it? Dude!
Yeah. That's
Makes me
worth
want
it.
to sell the Model S and get a Bolt.
You should. I think
No,
you
the
should.
seats are really
You
bad.
should
in
really
Bolts.
get rid of the Model S.
I will at some point.
Because it's only going to continue to get worse.
That's fine. There's nothing else on sale right now that won't rust.
Okay. Yep.
And is EV.
So, that's
Anyway.
accurate. That's enough. So anyway, at Goodwood, a wheel went flying off a car and hit someone.
I saw that hit 2 people.
Yeah, one person got like domed in the head. Luckily, it was a glancing blow, so it wasn't like it didn't kill them, but like it very well could have. And that was that Jaguar that always gets it through the corners.
The Mark II that was just lighting him up on the start line, throwing it sideways. I remember you texted me right when this happened, but I was watching the stream too. I assume you kept watching.
Yes.
Did you remember the announcer's dialogue right when they came back from the commercial break?
No, what did he say? I forgot about that.
We had a wheel fly off and hit 2 people in the crowd, but one I'm told is standing up
Yes.
and the other I'm told is sitting up. So
That's.
I'm like the
I
medical
did hear
assessment.
that. I did hear that. Yeah, they're not dead. That's he,
No,
he
they
said
didn't
in
say that.
he
They
said in
just
like
said-
nice words.
They just said one is sitting up and the other is standing. That's all they
Yeah,
said.
no, it's a British way of saying they're not dead. Because that's what everybody was saying in the
Right.
comments. This dude's totally dead. Because that's like totally gonna kill you
That's a lot of weight to be hit with at
with
50
a
miles
lot
an
of
hour.
inertia.
Yeah, luckily it
it's-
grazed the bales first, but it was not good.
Yeah, well, it bounced off the dude's head. Luckily, it wasn't like a straight shot right to his forehead. Like it was like the top of his head. But still, I'm.
That was maybe they should mandate safety wire on knockoffs for next year.
Yeah, I would.
I think that should just be there anyway because those are kind
I'm
of sketchy.
I'm surprised that they didn't.
Yeah, maybe they do, and this guy just
No, because all of the safety stuff is like error correct safety stuff. Yeah.
So there basically isn't any. Got it.
Yeah, for some of these cars, yeah.
Lucas wire.
Yep, basically.
I was looking forward to watching that run too, because the dude was just melting the cokers off this thing.
yeah, no, this dude always gets it in this Jaguar.
Oh.
So if
Thank you for entering chat for the first time, Solomon Hungry.
Um,
Welcome.
Yeah, no, it's such a great car to watch. So hopefully he gets it back on the road.
Oh, I'm sure he will. It looks like that thing's just.
Oh yeah, it's
riding
also
on-
just the hub because it's an inboard disc, so it's not like anything's gonna get damaged.
Yeah, no. Shane in chat was like, "Oh, looks like there's a disc in there." I'm like, "No, there's just a big friction surface on the old
Yeah.
hubs like that. That's just the wheel and tire. Luckily, it's probably a 15 with like a modern tire on it, so it probably didn't weigh that much.
Oh, wait a ton.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not light.
Anyway,
Because all those spokes are steel. That whole wheel is actually steel. It's a very heavy thing. This is a solid 20
person
pound, 20
was
pound thing.
standing, the other was sitting up.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah, everybody's okay.
But
Hey,
yeah.
yeah, that's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's okay.
Yes.
Everything is fine. Keeping on the topic of Goodwood, Hyundai has made an unfortunately pretty sponsored entrance into Goodwood this year, but the product, anyway. So the Ioniq 5N got soft
I've
launched.
actually wanted to see what this looks like because I like the Ioniq 5 and I like in things.
It's really hard to hate on this car. So the Ioniq 5N soft launched via Hyundai Kia at the same time as it made its debut at Goodwood.
Okay.
The features I want to talk about, there's both good and bad here, but the good is it does have an actual limited slip diff.
Very cool.
They've actually gone back and changed the entire battery pack out, so it doesn't share the battery pack with an EV6 GT, which is the same motors, same performance basically as this vehicle, but they've added extra chill plates to go hand in hand with an endurance mode.
So, like, to keep the battery cool.
Right, you can do track days in this car all day, and
That's
it won't
great.
overheat the battery management system.
So
of the
long
inverters.
as there's a charge.
Correct. But
So
the components won't overheat.
I don't think you're going to be doing a track day all day.
I would not.
I think you get about 3
bad.
laps.
Yeah. No, even with really, really bad efficiency, you could turn a lot of laps on one of these. But they really focused on the drift mode for Goodwood for reasons. And they do have... I want to talk about the virtual gear shifting, and I'm going to get the bad part out of the way first.
Look at this
They have,
ad.
They have
that I
been able...
received. Sorry, the smell.
Oh, no. What is that? Is that a Carver?
I know, but best deals on electric cars, and it's that sketchy piece of shit.
I don't even think that's electric. I thought those were gasoline.
Who knows?
Anyway, so there's an option, not something by default. There's an option to let you select gear ratios, essentially like a dual clutch via the paddles. Really, really dumb, and they give you a synthetic gasoline engine option for audio. But here's what I want to talk about on the good side of that. When you're drifting an electric car, you can't really get a good sense of speed on your axle that's losing traction. What the gear shifting lets you do is basically bang off a limiter in second. So you can keep your wheel speed consistent.
That's actually useful for that.
And you can keep the noise just on the interior. So people won't know that you're a Yabo. So I really do think I would prefer the synthesized noise.
To do that for other people. Nobody goes
There's
and
still
does
a sounder
that
out
for
there.
Nobody does sideshow shit for themselves.
I do in the winter.
Nobody does it to a point in which you're buying this vehicle for yourself.
This will rust, so I'm not going to buy this. But
I'm saying is that the fact that it's for the driver doesn't really.
Overall, really, really happy with the changes they made on this. It looks fantastic. It's wider. It's got ground effects. It's got a really cool triangular third brake light that doesn't flash.
That's cool.
21-inch wheels though. Cut that shit out.
I'm actually okay with the flashing high mount brake light.
I don't like those.
Well, the reason is that Dodge Journeys exist, and that people don't pay attention. And so if you have a flashing light in front of you, I'm okay with that.
I'm fine getting rear-ended. I don't want that.
Well, I'll take the flashing light.
Fine.
Because if I buy a car, I actually like it. I don't just buy a car because I'm just this is car. I really...
This is car.
I really, I buy a car because I'm this is specifically the car I want.
And luckily, this is software configurable, so you can make it
and
flash,
it's at the high mount brake light, I really would prefer if somebody didn't decide that they wanted to sit in my backseat from the outside.
During stop-and-go traffic, I don't think they should exist. During regular stops, fine. I agree with you.
Well, I think if you are in stop-and-go traffic and having to commute and you're concerned about the high mount brake light, perhaps you should not be commuting.
I deliberately choose times of day to not have traffic.
Perfect. See?
Yep.
You're not commuting.
Well, I do technically commute, but not as such.
time.
Yeah. I don't use my brakes.
That's the thing, is that if it's that much of an issue, the high mount brake light it's got another feature of getting another driver off the road if it bothers them so much. So it's good for the environment. It's environmental friendliness.
Exactly.
So everybody's happy.
The beauty of software configurable MOSFETs, bam. You can decide what you want. Anyway, Ioniq 5N seems like a pretty cool
It
product.
seems
I look
pretty
forward to
cool.
more of it. I really like how much effort's gone into like the actual end trim on this thing to make it a Yabo car.
Yeah, that's fun. Like, that's actually very cool. They're actually making it, like, exciting. Like, there needs to be more exciting, dumbass EVs.
I'm pretty sure this is the first production EV with a limited slip diff.
Might be. But I also really enjoy just dipshit cars. Like,
Yeah.
good. They should make that.
Because we've established many times worse cars are better.
Speaking of worst cars,
Yes.
I want to tell you about the new car club that just dropped. This is the Chevy Matiz Club of Uzbekistan.
That is a difficult.
I love these videos because they film these videos like they're supercars, but they're just little Matizes.
Dude, this is like choreographed.
I know. It's really good. All their videos are this good. And it's just a bunch of dudes driving around in these little, like... So if you're not familiar with what a Daewoo Matiz is, I keep calling it a Chevy, or a Daewoo, because it is made by Chevy of Korea,
People
which
are going
was...
to. Yeah.
It was made by Daewoo. This is the newest generation of what we previously received as the Daewoo Lanos.
Oh, yes.
They continued with the Lanos, and that's what it looks like today. And it's like, it looks like an egg. It's like an egg is like a 5-door hatchback with a 3-cylinder engine.
It looks like an IMEV that somebody has put a gasoline engine into.
And if you like scroll through the Daewoo.uzb Instagram, which is Daewoo Uzbekistan, or Matiz.uzb, scroll through, you'll see all their videos, which are almost all about these vehicles. But I think it's like their first or second upload that they ever had.
Yeah.
Oh, they won't let you do it because you're not logged in.
Signed in.
There's like a person that put a V6 in one.
Oh, okay. I mean, I saw a VR6 and a Corrado this morning, so I guess you can put a V6 in whatever.
VR6s came in Corrados.
Sorry, Caddy.
Oh, okay, yeah. People do that.
My brain do. Yeah, I know they.
But yeah,
bolt in,
so yeah, that's not a bolt-in thing with this. Like, this is a car that had a 3-cylinder engine and was not meant to do anything important. But it's kind of cool. Also, they have silly little car, and they do silly little car things. And they treat it like a big car, but it's still small and silly. And I love
silly
it.
little car treat like big car.
Yeah, it's very fun. It's a good time.
I do really like the coordinated entry of the highway
It's
and
so
the
goofy.
light flashing.
All of their videos are that choreographed. They're so good. Like the dude that does the Matiz Uzbekistan Instagram videos should actually get a job as a social media coordinator because this dude's crushing it. It's absolutely incredible.
The transitions are just so
I know.
shit hot.
But it's just such a dumbass car. This guy puts so much effort into this dumbass little car.
Yeah, but like, is it any dumber than like a 126p and like the following?
No,
of it?
it's
exactly.
yeah, no, and that's the thing is like, there's nothing wrong with that. These are just fun little stinky cars. Like, I'm here for this. I genuinely get more out of these videos than I do seeing Corvettes
Oh yeah.
or like Ferrari videos or honestly any car.
Had 3 Chevy Matiz showed up at Supercar Saturday today. Like nobody would have paid attention to anything else in the lot.
Yeah, like these I get way more out of this because it's so silly. Like, that's great. 10 out of 10.
People are actually enthusiastic about cars
Yes.
still. I really, really like that.
So-
Okay, speaking of God, Eastern Europe, dude, people are so messed up. I love this so much. I was scrolling through for topics today. I'm like, there's no way in hell I can't cover this because regularly we talked about cars, tractors, and Eastern Europe. There's a Belarusian tractor company that made an F1 car-shaped tractor.
I love that.
Out of nothing but tractor parts. And
That's incredible.
It is.
Have you ever heard of the Estonia car?
The Estonia?
It's called the Estonia.
No, let's Google it.
It's called Estonia race car. So during the Soviet Union, the Soviet car brand makes actually competed in F1 and like Formula racing and
Is it
stuff.
the 60 to 61?
All of the above. Actually, everything on that page. That one next to it looks like an actual 80s F1 car is also in Estonia.
Oops. There we
Oh,
go.
God.
That's fine.
Well, they made them until the fall of the Soviet Union.
So what engine is that? It's a horizontally opposed twin?
Yes.
Is it out of a motorcycle?
I don't know. Could be a tractor. Who knows?
Well, that's
But
fair.
I know that the later ones, they looked like Ayrton Senna's race car. Like, they looked like a McLaren. but they had like Moskvich engines in them,
Oh my.
like really, really, really hotted up Moskvich engines.
Even a hotted up Moscovich engine. I guess if you made it light enough.
It doesn't weigh anything. It's actually kind of fun to drive. Apparently, they
well,
were very cool. And they had
not
like
disputing it's not
they had
fun.
they had a little racing series for them in the Soviet Union.
This is why we need Spec Fiat 500
And
non-turbo
I think
here.
it's really funny that they had that because there was like, how would you get away with racing in the Soviet Union? And it was to show the like national pride and to show that like, yeah, we're communists and we can compete just as well as capitalists, even though it's a Moskvich engine.
It's a driver mod.
But I think like later on, like they started putting like Gaz Volga like 5-liter V8s and stuff in them. Like,
Oh.
because it's just basically a chassis. You put whatever you want into it. Most of them are Moskviches, like for the
That's
spec
like a
series.
Ford DFB swap into a...
Yeah, basically.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's like actual V8s and stuff. So yeah, the Estonia, Eastern Europe does have a history of doing F1 vehicles out of weird shit, and this is hilarious. Too bad it's from a bad country.
Well, yeah.
That's a very cool looking tractor, though. I do like that. I objectively like that. What tractor company is this?
Didn't read that far.
I guess I could look it up.
MTZ.
MTZ. I've never heard of them.
I have not either.
That's a new one.
MTZ Formula One
Oh,
tractor.
yeah. Weird.
Produced from the Minsk Tractor Factory in Belarus.
Oh, the MTZ. All right. There you go.
There you go.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Illyria's Minsk Tractor Vaz, or whatever the Belarusian word for
Anyway,
Vaz is.
it's I don't know. It's kind of like the Jay Leno tank car, but made out of a Russian tractor.
But, like, it is literally just a tractor. Like,
It is just
top to
yeah,
bottom.
it's
Like,
terrible. But I kind of like that.
I want to go back to the Estonia race car. Let me get you. So look up the, let's see. Oh, wow, they made them until 2000, the Estonias. The
This one is
last
a 1961 on screen here.
Yes. So try the Estonia 24.
Estonia 24.
There it is.
Oh yeah, that does look like
It literally it says
Marlboro.
Latvia on the side of it. Yeah, it's incredible.
Mario Andretti would be at home in this as well.
That's great.
It looks like an Indy car.
Yeah, well, I mean, like it actually like they took him out racing and they actually did stuff with him.
I'm gonna start putting J's in all my
They had
Latvian
like
writing.
5-speed gearboxes. The later ones post Soviet Union had GTI engines in them, so like 16 valves.
Cool.
Let's see here. They also had pushrod suspension in them, actual aerodynamic solutions from like jets and stuff. From like they would put them in like Soviet airplane like test tunnels to like make their aerodynamics work. So yeah, they made. Let's see here. So they had Moskvich 412 engines. They had a lot of 1300 engines.
Oh my god.
IZH Jupiter 350. What the hell is that? Oh, that's a motorcycle engine. Okay.
That's got to be the one that was in here then.
Yeah. Moskvich 408 engines, Wartburg engines, Supuchov 500s.
I picture every Russian-produced engine ever having like a smaller version of the DIN bell housing on it. Like everything in a commercial vehicle or implement in this country in the last 70 years has the same bell housing pattern on it. I feel like in Russia that's the same thing. Like you can make any engine you want, but it has to have the exact same crank, snout,
I'm sure.
backspacing, and bell housing.
I'm sure they had that. So the last version. So if you look up the Estonia 26-9, that was made in 2000. Had a Hewland gearbox, AP brakes, a dry sump Volkswagen engine, a 50-50 weight distribution, and revised suspension.
There are shockingly few actual photos of these vehicles.
Yes.
I'm guessing they did not sell many of them.
No. As post-Soviet Union, they made 6, 7.
I mean,
7. They made 7 post-Soviet Union.
Well, this
Yes.
is one of those 7
Yes.
parked in somebody's museum or something.
Yeah,
that-
some guy named Yuri's.
Oh God.
But yeah, no, that's very cool.
They definitely kept the exact same wheels from the earlier one, the Latvia.
I like in the Wikipedia page, they add on to the other. So it was made by Tark, that's the name of the factory that made it. There's one extra one called the Tark Aleco JK173 from 1989. This car is not produced by Tark at all. Tark facilities were planned and used for production. The whole project was a scam and ended up as a fiasco.
I was gonna say, because that sounds like that SUV from Nigeria or whatever.
Yeah,
the name on that.
yeah, it absolutely sounds exactly
Oh,
like...
and it was a scam. It probably was a Nigerian scam.
I love that so much. But no, they actually... the reason that they were doing this is they actually used Russian-made or Soviet-made engines because they would race them in like their own racing series, but they'd also enter them into different series in Le Mans and stuff. And they tried doing F1 in the 60s, and it didn't work out very well.
Shocking.
But these cars eventually did make it into some European racing leagues, and they did stuff like ground effect testing and stuff like that. But the whole point of that was to show, like, yeah, no, our cars, despite what people say, actually can perform well if you design them to be performed, like to be a performance
to be
engine.
performant.
Yeah, like as opposed to, your average Lada engine was designed to just not break literally ever, because if your shit breaks down in rural Siberia in
You die.
February, yeah, you're having a bad time for a very short period of time until you die. But if your Lamborghini breaks down in like rural Sardinia, then you're fine. Like you're just gonna like go to a winery and you're gonna be okay.
Also, the nearest Lamborghini tractor is parts interchange.
Exactly. So you're going to be 100% okay. So that's the thing is Russia was just trying to prove, or Soviet Union was, because I don't want to give credit to just one nation within the Soviet Union. They were trying to prove that, like, yeah, no, we actually make cool things. And like in 1985, like they proved that like they could make a fuel injection system and electronic ignition system. And so they put it in the Estonia 24. And yeah, I just think that's like really interesting that they did that.
That's very grassroots.
Yeah.
I definitely did not. Well, I would have no reason to know that these existed because they didn't make many.
Also, I genuinely love Russian, Soviet, Eastern European weird ass cars like that. And that's...
I want a car with Latvia written on the side of it.
Yeah, exactly. That looks like that.
That car is Slav squatting.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. No, it's a great vehicle, so I'm excited about it. It's very cool. One day I'll have one. The one I'd end up getting is Estonia 19 because they 77 to 79 they made 165 of them.
That's a good number.
Actually, Estonia 21 they made 295 of those.
Those will still
350. Oh wait, no, never mind. That was the displacement of an engine. Yeah, so actually the most they ever made was the Estonia 21, where they made just shy of 300.
That's a lot for a race vehicle per year.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
that is an ass load of race
So
cars.
they definitely were doing the spec series with those.
Yep, and I'm sure I can find one for probably not much more than your average Mirage price.
Just ship it over with the UAZ Patriot and all will be well.
Yes, exactly. It'd be perfect. Anyway, I think we're done here.
Thanks for listening.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.